Greetings. I'm Bentley Bryant, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to another reading session with After Midnight, the series. Myself, Bentley Bryant, featured here on werewolves.com. Tonight we will be reading one from the After Midnight series titled The Pizza Pub. Joel Johnson was a sophomore at a local community college. He was a full-time student looking for a part-time job. After applying to several places via the internet, he finally got a call from a well-known spot in the community, the Pizza Pub. A small pub located a couple of blocks away from his high school campus. His college campus. It seemed to be an ideal gig for Joel. Being family owned since its conception back in the day, one would think that there would be little to no employee turnover. Unfortunately, that was not the case, especially in the last few months. Open 7 days a week, the Pizza Pub's busiest days were Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Those days you could get any drink 2 for $1, and their signature hot wings were more than worth a visit. Joel's favorite, the fried shrooms, huge beer-battered mushrooms, were also a top seller. Over the past few months, the owner had given the business a facelift, introducing new items on the menu and initiating the weekend drink specials. Due to this and a few other things, the business had begun to grow, nearly tripling its weekend margins within a short period of time. Because of its growth and popularity in the college community, the management team sought to expand the business by adding a delivery service. It would be on a trial basis just to see if the response would be favorable or not. It was predicted that it would be a great business move, catering to the college kiddos and the local apartment complexes in the area. There were also a few neighborhoods that were probably going to jump on the delivery bandwagon, or at least that was the hope of the management team. Little did Joel know, but he would be the first driver hired for the newly created position. He didn't know what he'd be doing, but the Pizza Pub had grown so in popularity that he didn't care if he was scrubbing toilets or whatever. Just to be a part of such a phenomenon would make it worth his time. The head of the management team had done a lot of research before launching the whole growth campaign to include the delivery service. She was confident that offering delivery to customers would work, and once it was proven, the Pizza Pub would add drivers as needed. A concern with the whole plan, however, was the fact that customers who began utilizing the delivery system might become long-time users. Customers who became frequent delivery service customers would frequent the pub less. A large part of revenue came from booze bar sales, and you had to be at the pub to take advantage of the 2 for $1 drinks. Delivery system customers would cause the booze bar to take a hit. Only time would tell if that hit would be significant. A simple yet complex nuisance of business. The manager still pressed forward with her plan, so Joel got the call. He was completely ecstatic about the call and the come on in and let's do a face-to-face interview, and was overheard comparing that day to his birthday or even Christmas. He really needed a job, something he could do effortlessly and not to interfere with his studies. Something not too demanding, but paid well enough that he could afford more than just ramen, prepared every way imaginable. Long before the call back, when he was just a freshman, he met Suzanne Quinones. He met her in his physics class after some time, and after some time they became close friends. Both of them being straight A students as well as introverts, neither knew what they wanted to be when they grew up. an inside joke between the two of them. Another inside joke was how Joel butchered Suzanne's last name every time he tried to pronounce it. Because of this, he began calling her Susie Q, which over time stuck. Soon everyone, even the professors, began referring to her as Susie Q. They laughed about the whole thing on several occasions. She had laughed with him about that on several occasions. She was just cool that way. She had pale skin and jet black hair. Her nails, which she almost always shaped to a point, were always painted black too. These both complemented the deep, dark wine colored lipstick she chose daily. Over time, Joel became smitten with her, but couldn't tell if she felt the same or anything even close about him. Yet another inside joke between the two was how he would ask her if she was a vampire. Jokingly, of course. Most everyone agreed. She'd always laugh whenever Joel brought the subject up. But there was one time when she responded, if I were a vampire, I'd be sure to bite you so that you could live forever with me. Caught off guard by her response, Joel laughed, but he never forgot that moment. For a few reasons, but mainly because it kind of answered how she felt about him. Somewhat. He felt that she was into him, but he couldn't be too sure. He was a bit of a goober, and most girls didn't even look at him. Not wanting to mess up their friendship, Joel never asked her about her true feelings toward him. He wanted more than anything to protect their friendship. He felt that he could be himself around her, and that was cool. It was cool too how Susie Q could care less of what people thought of her. She was just herself all the time, wearing mostly black clothing, looking gothic. They had a blast at their very first and only Halloween party. She dressed up as, you guessed it, a vampire, while Joel dressed up as a very scary Batman. Inspired by the comic character, he mixed that with becoming a human bat. She helped him with the makeup, and they won every contest they entered, even the online contests. Although his costume was breathtakingly scary, Susie Q's was even more astonishing. She looked like an actual vampire with elongated canine teeth that seemed almost too real. Joel secretly waited for her to pop them out all that evening to eat, drink, or whatever, but she didn't and seemed to function with those vampiric teeth naturally. There was nothing that they couldn't talk about, but in time he would find that there was a lot she never mentioned. At the end of their freshman year, the two vowed to keep in touch over the summer break. She told him that she was planning to go out of town for a while to visit relatives, but it was with the understanding that she'd return before school started back. This really bummed Joel out. The fact that his best friend, his only friend, would be leaving town made him feel all hollow inside. But he didn't dare show his emotions on the subject around Susie Q. That summer, with his best friend out of town, Joel began applying for jobs. He told himself that it was for pocket change, but the truth of the matter was he was missing Susie Q. And she hadn't responded to any of his texts, phone calls, or emails. As he thought about it, he didn't know where out of town was for his friend. He'd hoped she was all right, though. He thought of her daily, so in essence, the call came at a perfect time. It would be the perfect distraction. Meeting with his shift supervisor, Joel smashed the interview and was scheduled to come back the next evening for a trial run in his new role as delivery guy for the pizza pub. He thought his title had a special ring to it. He was happy to find out that the delivery system was set up through a newly designed pizza pub app. Since everything was done online, there would be no actual cash exchange. How cool was that? It was some serious technology for this type of business, but the numbers didn't lie. The pizza pub gross profits had tripled in the past year. Not only had the owner physically expanded the area of the pizza pub through remodeling, but the new app would prove to be the best investment yet. The pub was booming in every area. The stockholders couldn't be happier, and the other investors were jumping on board faster than Joel could eat a bowl of the pizza pub's fried shrooms. On the way out of the interview, Joel was introduced to one of the hostesses. She was a lovely girl, nothing like Susie Q, but Joel was instantly charmed by her beauty, her voice, her fragrance. How lucky was he that she was chosen to show him around the pub. During the tour, she asked him what his favorite food item was, and without hesitation, he said, "The shrooms." Laughing, she said, "What a coincidence, those are my faves too." With that, she looked over at a nearby waitstaff and said, "Shrooms for our newest employee, Joel Stat." Within minutes, she and Joel were sitting and he was filling out the necessary paperwork. Soon after, they were laughing and talking while they shared a huge bowl of wangs and shrooms. All of a sudden, feeling a little guilty, Joel became noticeably uneasy. He had never sat with any girl for so long other than Susie Q. He tried to shake the odd feeling off as nerves, but why all of a sudden? As she continued to laugh, talk, and look at him somewhat seductively, he withdrew even more. He ended their time by saying that he had to get back to the campus to finish up some work. How crazy was that? School was out and everyone in the area knew it, especially the employees at the pizza pub, since the students were their best customers, even during break. He left, returning to his dorm room. Thankfully, he had no roommate. For the first time, he felt like the shrooms, as good as they were, made him sick. He'd spend most of the night over his toilet regurgitating his favorite food. At closing that night, the hostess finished up her nightly duties and said her goodbyes to one of the cook staff and night managers. As she left out of the back, as she had done a million times, she headed for the bus stop a block away. She always carried mace and a taser at the advice of her father, a retired police officer. She was also in exceptional shape, having won several triathlons in and out of state. As a